Sometimes I think the best conversations happen, like in life, they generally happen in our heads. Yes, in our heads. What did you think I was going to say before with your babe? Lol. Welcome back to Moment in Isaac's Head, where overthinking isn't just an habit, but it's art. So today I'm going to be talking about something that has probably kept us up at night, or ruined a perfectly good day, or turned a simple "we need to talk" text into a Jordan Peele script or something like that. Yep, I'm talking about overthinking. And then maybe I'm trying to understand if it's the villain of a story or it's secretly the hero of our story. And while this episode isn't one to finalize, because fairs, thinking about this topic, I wrote down in my notepad that I was going to have a part 2 where we're going to have guests. But when that will be, I do not know. You guys will still have to anticipate. Alright, let's get into it. So what exactly is overthinking? Or what exactly is thinking? So thinking is, to me, I'm not looking at it in the dictionary. I feel like thinking is you just things going through your head. I'm not Merriam-Webster dictionary, so don't expect a perfect answer from me. But when I think about overthinking, I think about it analysis, reanalysis, analysis some more, over analyzing, over analysising. You know what it is? Like taking a single thought and stretching it for a long period of time that becomes this soap opera voice. This sorry, I don't have that. Overthinking is let's put it like this. It's like someone texting you. Example, it's like your coach rep texting you saying HOD wants to see you. And then you start thinking, what did I do? HOD wants to see me. Did I say something? Did you hear when I said this? Did you see when I did that? Is it that my result has done this? Is that why HOD wants to see me? Why? Why my name? Why this? Why that? Oh my God, what happened to my result? Oh my God, am I going to fail? Oh my God, what's going on with my life? Jesus, that fear. Or maybe your random friend or maybe your partner texts you or says, "Babe, we need to talk." And then inside your head, instead of you waiting to see what they mean, it might be probably a small gist, and then inside your head you're like, we need to talk, and then you start writing a whole season of you against the world inside your head. And spoiler alert, you might just end up saying sorry for what you didn't do. You get, I don't know if that makes any sense. And I feel like overthinking isn't just about being dramatic. It's actually tied to how our brains work. It's a survival mechanism. Because our mind is always trying to protect us from, unforeseen circumstances. It's trying to help us by preparing every possible outcome. Just like Doctor Strange in Avengers Infinity War, I think. Yes. So our brain tries to create certain scenarios and helps us prepare for the worst case scenario. You get for the worst possible outcome. And then the problem is now that where overthinking comes, it's not just us thinking about that or those scenarios. It's our mind becomes stuck in a loop that before we come out of it, it's like a bad song that I cannot get out of your head. I don't want to mention any bad. Do I know any bad songs? Nah. It's like a bad song in your head. Just replaying, and you're annoyed. That's exactly what happens. That's exactly how it is. And looking at this particular thing, I had a conversation with someone, with a friend of mine. Shout out to her. Shout out to Esther. And then I just asked her what she thinks overthinking is, and then she asked me if what I mean by overthinking is worrying. And then I started to think about it again. I don't know if that makes any sense, if it makes sense for me to use the word think when talking about overthinking. And I started to ask myself, what differentiates overthinking from worrying? I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes any sense. And I feel like the next thing I'm about to say is validating what she said, that there is a thin line between overthinking something and worrying about something, and that's where this comes from. It's like, I used to think that overthinking is or was or is or was or now I'm about to exactly. I think it's triggered for most people. It's triggered by fear. I mean, sometimes it might be fear of judgment, fear of making the wrong decision. It might be anxiety. It might be fear of failure and all of that. For example, last year on my birthday, I didn't do anything really fun, and then what was inside my head that particular day was, I am this age today, and what the have I achieved? I'm laying on my bed, and I'm I've not even this particular age, and I've not even peaked, and it's there playing in my head, and I remember that my cousin and his wife now would randomly come into my room to look at me, how I'm faring, and I'm I'm just on my phone. They think I'm on my phone, just being there. They don't understand that inside my head lots of things are playing. And I say after I had that conversation with Esther, I started thinking that, was I actually overthinking, or I was worrying? And I didn't I still don't understand the concept or the thin line between overthinking and worrying. Because it's there's so much uncertainty. My brain doesn't know. I don't know, and my mind is trying to sift through certain things. It's trying to create a lot of things for me, and this overthinking or worrying, because I don't even know what term to use right now, but overthinking is still what I'm going to stick with, probably until part 2, when we have guests who are going to relate and stuff like that. How does overthinking affect us? Because this doesn't just stay in our head. It seeps into every corner of our life. I notice that anytime I'm thinking about something, either I am in a beef, let's put it like that, or I'm not in speaking terms with a particular person, I notice that it affects my productivity. For example, it might be your work life, for you to be thinking about something, and then at work it will make you procrastinate. Jesus Christ! It will make you procrastinate certain things, because you're trying to plan the perfect approach. Sometimes even in relationships, especially with friends or with partners, you might have issues, and then maybe you want to settle it over a text, and sometimes we get to delete our text, or maybe we're with friends or partners that do not like people deleting their text, and then maybe when you've sent a text and then you thought about it, that this text I've sent is too much, and then you delete it. And we know how WhatsApp is, and Snapchat, and some of these apps, when you delete messages, they'll tell them that Kiniko has deleted the message. You know how that is. You get so, and then when you delete that text, you make the other person start to think, and it becomes a chain. It becomes a chain reaction, and then the other person sends a text and starts to think something, and then they probably delete it because they feel okay, I've used I instead of am, or I've used they instead of there, or cat instead of dog, and it becomes like a chain reaction kind of thing. And I think I remember one particular time when I was in charge of something in particular, and then I am by the time I've already like thought, yeah, I think yes, it was content, it was a content. And I remember back then when the director and the cameraman, that was Fermi and Richard, when they told me that, oh my guy, shoot is this particular day, and then I looked at my calendar and I saw that the shoot was the next day, and I hadn't perfected the script, so to say. And funny thing, yeah, the script I thought I was going to perfect wasn't even perfect. And what I originally planned, when I gave it to them for them to read it, they felt like this was actually good, but my brain was thinking maybe this was bad, and then my perfect approach wasn't even so perfect. I don't know if that makes any sense. So it really, really affects the way we like move. It drains us both physically and mentally. It's like, you're running 100 laps inside your mind. Your mind is constantly thinking. So overthinking is just, like I said, I don't really understand the way this goes, but part of me wants to think there are three sides to overthinking: the bad, the good, and the middle ground. Yeah, they always say two sides to a coin, but if you think about it, there's the middle part, because sometimes the coin might not fall on both sides, it might fall on the middle. So let's talk about the bad side first. Overthinking is definitely going to paralyze you, because you spend so much time debating on whether to take the leap that you actually never jump. And it will make you second guess everything from a big life decision to whether you should have said good morning sir or good day sir, or whether you should have said hi or hello in a particular email and stuff like that. It's really like it takes your time, and it takes your energy, your focus, and sometimes even your happiness or joy. And your mind, it becomes a stage where, for every worst case scenario you get, and every worst case scenario will now start getting a spotlight, and then you're like, oh, if I do this person will think like this, if I do that person will think like this. It doesn't just make you decisive. And in the good part, I guess it helps for creativity. I don't know if what to call this is overthinking, because when you're thinking about stuff a lot, constantly, you're over prepared, you're over prepared for something, while others are thinking about, this is the way we should go about this. Inside your head, you've thought of plan A, plan B, plan C. And I feel like that's how it helps me in decision making, so to say. I'm not calling myself a creative, but I think I'm trying as one. But it helps with storytellers most times. It sparks creativity. Sometimes when you're thinking about things constantly, it makes you create certain worlds in your head. And I feel like that's what helps most movie directors, content creators, storytellers, writers, and all of that, and even comedians sometimes, that ability for you to keep thinking that there are things inside your head, there are voices inside your head that keep speaking to you constantly. And don't let us lie too, overthinking sparks empathy, because sometimes you want to act in a manner, and then your mind is thinking that, if I do this thing to this person, you would have thought about the perfect plan to bring down this person, and then your overthinking mind is guy, if you do this, this might happen. And then you think of something else again, your mind is if you do this, this will happen. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's it makes you more considerate, and it drives you a lot crazy, that no matter how much you think of something, you'd be empathetic. I don't know if that makes any sense. And the middle ground, I don't even know, because is it good? Is it bad? Or is it worrying? I think it's all of them at the same time, because I don't even want to think about it, but I think from my own little knowledge, we should care about the balance. We should try to know when to lean into it and when to let it go, because we should learn to understand when overthinking becomes worrying, or if overthinking is worrying, we should learn to see how not to overthink things into worry. That doesn't make any sense. What I just said doesn't make any sense, but I hope it makes sense inside your head that you're listening right now. So, I feel like we've come to the end of this particular episode. So, as we're wrapping up, I just want you to reflect, take a moment to reflect. Is overthinking your worst enemy, or is it your superpower? Or is it something that you're still in between? Like me, maybe you're in between the good and bad. Well, while you're at it, think of how you can make it work for you instead of against you, because let's be honest, it is against you. Yeah. And that's the thing about this podcast. Here, you get to spend the moment in Isaac's head, a place where overthinking isn't something you can run from. You're spending... I don't need to explain the joke to you. You should be smart enough. Well, because this is where I turn all my endless spirals of thoughts into stories worth sharing. And without my endless overthinking, there would be no moment to spend in Isaac's head. So, till next time, when someone tells you think too much, just smile and tell them, at least I'm do think. Sorry, shit. So, so when next someone tells you that you think too much, just tell them, at least I'm thinking. Why aren't you? So, until next time, keep overthinking, but just enough. Bye. See you next episode.